Thank you very much. Welcome to Leadership Speak, an advanced Toastmasters club for leadership development. We are the top club globally. I am Claudette Thomas, the Sergeant at Arms for this meeting. We provide a positive and supportive learning experience where members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Leadership Speak is a premier club for advanced Toastmasters to become better self-directed leaders. We are an advanced club focused primarily on leadership development in everything we do. Our timer has a virtual hand raise so you can immediately see who is keeping the time. Our trainer today, DTM Brahm Memone, has been a Toastmaster for 28 years and has 3 DTMs. He's also a leadership coach and trainer who consults and trains in large organizations and offers online training courses. He has a penchant for large HPL projects. Thousands of Toastmasters have attended his HPL project events since the pandemic 4 years ago. A few of Brahm's notable achievements: Club Coach of the Year in District 86, founder of Leadership Speak, an advanced Toastmasters club with over 57 members from 25 countries. Since its charter in February 2022, during the pandemic, Leadership Speak attained the spot of the top club globally in 2 years. His professional coaching program, Pro, Speak and Lead, is consistently rated as a 5-star training program. Today, he's leading this meeting as a trainer for advanced evaluations that enhance critical thinking. Please join me in welcoming our trainer, DTM Brahm Memone.
Thank you. Thank you for that wonderful introduction, Madam Sergeant at Arms. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
If you can all mute your microphones now, thank you. And I will ask the Zoom master to ensure that all the mics are off unless we call the speaker to speak. Mr. Zoom master, thank you very much for being here. Our Zoom master is from Uganda, Kampala. And I was in Kampala a few years back. I spent 3 months in Kampala. What a lovely city. Now, critical thinking. Why critical thinking? Why do we emphasize critical thinking in Leadership Speak? And also, you may be wondering, if you're new to Leadership Speak here today, why is it called Leadership Speak? Well, this club was founded, as you've heard from the Sergeant at Arms, just over 2 years ago, February of 2022, during the pandemic. It launched and charted within a week. And within the first year, full year of operation, we were number 5 globally. This current year, this past June, I think we were the top club globally. We have on the, if you look at the dashboard, it says 58 members. We have 48 active members, or maybe 45 active members. As always, attrition. We're always looking for new members. Critical thinking and Leadership Speak. Leadership Speak means to speak as a leader, to be heard as a leader, and to speak to a group of leaders. Our members are all leaders without title. Some of them do have titles. They have titles like past district director, past district governor, division directors, area directors, presidents from all over the world. We have members from 27 different countries. And so we speak to each other as if we are leaders. Leaders without titles, some of us with titles. Some of us have DTMs, some of us don't have DTMs. and so on. But critical thinking is very important for leaders. Leaders need to think critically. In today's fast-paced world, where everything goes just flitting by, we are scrolling through on our Facebook accounts and LinkedIn and Instagram, all the social media things, and watching clips here and reels there and shorts over here. Our mind is all over the place, and you'll find a lot of content out there doesn't have any critical thinking. It is more hyped, it's more dramatic to catch attention, to catch clicks, clickbaits. So Mr. Zoom Master, if you can immediately mute people as soon as you hear a noise. Keep the participant panel open. Thank you, Mr. Zoom Master. So critical thinking is very, very important for us. In a world that is very fast-paced, very dramatic, attention-grabbing, everyone needs attention, everyone wants to be famous, and you see all that happening around you. You see it happening on the TV every day as well. So for leaders and entrepreneurs like Elon Musk and Steve Jobs and those large companies, technology companies in today's world, are emphasizing the one key quality of a leader. They will hire you if you don't have the skills to program, but they will hire you if you have critical thinking. They will hire you if you're able to connect with other human beings, because critical thinking is needed to connect with other human beings, to be able to listen carefully, to understand what's being said, to observe, and to give feedback. And that brings us to evaluations. Feedback is all about evaluations. So we will delve deeply into that today, about evaluations, why we do evaluations and all those things. But before I do that, I will now call upon our toast. And to raise the toast is, if my technology works, I'll get to it, and have it right here on my screen. To raise the toast today, I'm going to call on Leya Musunga. Leya, welcome.
Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and guests. What is the value of an effective feedback? At its core, feedback provides one insight into their performance, behavior, and their impact. Personally, for me, when I first entered the work market, after a few months, my supervisor sat me down and she said she wanted to discuss how I had been progressing. I was excited by this meeting because in my head, I thought I was Wonder Woman. But after hearing the feedback from my supervisor, I realized that from what she said, I had been reckless on various aspects of projects we had undertaken. So I was operating like the superhero Hancock. Through the discussion I had with my supervisor, I was able to gain some of my weaknesses, and she shared with me some of my strength. And she was able to guide me towards improvement. That is what an effective evaluation can do. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, if you have your glass, you can raise, and may we all toast to effective feedback.
Effective feedback. Thank you, Leya. Absolutely right. Whatever we do in Toastmasters, whatever we do in, especially we emphasize that in leadership speak, when you're speaking like a leader, you need to speak so that you are learning how to convert that into the real world very quickly. The feedback you give, the presentations you make, the interactions that you have are real world things that you can really do in the real world by practicing here in Leadership Speak. It's an advanced club, and we do emphasize that a lot. Our timer today is Nzinga Jess, all the way from Angola, one of the 27 countries from where our members come. Nzinga, tell us what you will do today.
Good day, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I am indeed Nzinga Jas, your timer for today, and I shall time by flashing the cards green, yellow, and red as per the time in the agenda. At the end of each session, I shall post the times in the chat box. Thank you. Over to you, Brahm.
Thank you very much. Let me explain the agenda. If you have a look at the agenda, Paramjit, if you can post the agenda again, the updated agenda in the chat. And when you've done that, let me know. But
already
if you look
done.
at,
Already done.
thank you very much. The updated one. Thank you.
Updated one.
So, thank you very much. So if you look at the agenda, ladies and gentlemen, what you will find is that it's not the usual meeting. You don't have a Toastmaster of the day today. There's only a trainer and evaluators, 2 speakers, and the general evaluator. Of course, there's a timer, and you saw the toast. So that is the agenda today. It's like a round robin for each speaker. I will present a training session starting very soon. I'll ask the timer to start the training session timer very soon. And I'll speak for about 45 minutes in the training, thereabouts. And then we'll call the first speaker, and then there will be 5 evaluators, like a round robin evaluation. And then I'll give my feedback as well at the end. And then we'll have a second speaker come on, and then another 5 evaluators, and then the same procedure, and so on. That is the agenda for today. Now, Paramjit, if you can also post in the chat the notes that people can take. We have a lot of attendees. I think we have about 80 attendees currently, and a lot of guests are here. So please stay on till the end, dear guests, and we will talk to you. For those who really want to have a conversation about Leadership Speak, if you want to be a member, and if you really want to know why we became and how we became the top club in such a short time, especially as an advanced club. As you know, most advanced clubs don't reach that level. So stick around till the end, and we will make sure that you will definitely talk to you. We are, of course, from 27 different countries. Please guess, there's a guest book right now being posted in the chat. There's a link. Please click the link, fill in the details. Thank you, Leya. And click the details. Tell us who you are, where you are from, whether you're interested in joining Leadership Speak. We will be posting this guest book every so often along the way. So if you want to fill it in now and you are sure you want to be a member, fill it in now. If you are hesitant and think, what's this training about? Who's Brahm? What are they talking about? Is it going to be useful? And I'll fill that guest book later on. Fair enough. So please feel comfortable. The reason why I have this fire is sit around the fire with me as my guest, as our guest, and let's just see what unfolds in the next few minutes. All right. All ready, guests? All right. Paramjit, have you posted the notes in the chat?
Just posting it just within 1 sec, maximum 5 seconds. It will be there.
Very good. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, what it is that there's a fillable PDF form. So if you don't have to even print it out, put it on your screen and you can put in your own notes. But everything that I'm going to talk about is in that PDF for you. So for guests and members, and especially the evaluators today, make sure you use the form. And now I will start the training. Madam Timer, if you can start timing this for me now, starting now. Thank you. Just want to make sure my technology is good. Thank you very much. All right. So now critical thinking for leaders. That that ends up as a key tool for evaluators. So this is all about evaluations, but critical thinking is key to evaluations. And critical thinking is key to putting together your content and how you create the content and structure your content, the beginning, the layers of the content and the conclusion and the summary, right? So there's two things that give you critical thinking. One is, of course, evaluations, which is we are going to talk about today. And the other thing is mentorship. We won't be talking about mentorship today. We talk about mentorship often in this club. So if in the future we'll be holding another session for mentorship, please do come by and join that as well. We haven't set a date for that. Now, evaluations, ladies and gentlemen. Evaluations are really key to understanding what's going on. One of the things that I find, and in my, I've been a Toastmaster for 28 years. Now, in my 28 years, this is what I've heard. In some evaluations, right? The evaluator will stand up and say, I disagree with you. I don't have that point of view. Have you ever heard that sort of evaluation? Yes, I had those evaluations where the evaluator just goes way off and suddenly gets, emotionally entangled in my content. So here's an example. For example, you read a book, right? And you disliked the book, you hated the book, you read like 20 pages of it and you threw the book away and said, who the heck is this author? Why did you write this book? And I dislike it, and I'm never going to recommend this author to anyone, and I don't want to even see this book anywhere in my shelf, and you give it away. A few months later, you are called to do an evaluation, right? And a speaker stands up and speaks about the very book that you disliked, and he says how great the book was. He summarizes the book, tells you about the author and everything that was great, and quotes the author in different places. And there you go, you are the evaluator. What would you do? Now, would you tell that I disagree with you, I don't like the author, or what are you talking about? Would you do that? No, you can't. As an evaluator, you have to put aside your disposition. You put aside your disposition, you begin to observe. So one of the key things in evaluation is critical thinking, observation. Your job is to make sure that how was the content put together? Was there an audience takeaway? What was the title? Was it attention grabbing? Did it affect the audience in a certain way? Did the audience take away something from it? That is your job as an evaluator. It's not for you to agree or disagree, or you tell the speaker to change their content. That is not your job as an evaluator. Your job as an evaluator to tell the speaker how well they did, where they may improve, where they were effective, where they could be more effective, where they could excel more in tweaking a few things, and what will take them to the greatness, right? The usual sandwich method, if I may. That is the job of an evaluator. How many of you agree with that? Put it in the chat if you agree that that is the job of an evaluator. Let me see if there's a yes or no, agree, disagree. What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? 99%, all right, not 100%. Yes, 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 agree. Thank you very much. We have got 80 people in the audience. I expect to see a lot of people saying whether they agree or not. Must be objective. Thank you, Tony. Absolutely. Absolutely. You need to be objective, not subjective. Your disposition and how you're triggered has to be put aside, and you need to observe totally. Now, that brings me to just one tiny fact aside from what we're doing today. If that is the case and you're able to observe and not be emotionally entangled in anything, could you put on your evaluator hat 24/7? Like you're not triggered anywhere in your organizations, in the club, during club meetings, even when you're not the evaluator, even when you are disagreeing with people in how the club is being run, put on your evaluator hat and observe. Could you do that? Could conflict totally be eliminated if you put on your evaluation hat 24/7? Critical thinking, observation. That's a challenge for everyone here who gets embroiled in conflicts in the clubs. Okay? Begin to be an evaluator all the time. That was a side point. Thank you very much for listening to me. I want to ask you if you agree with me. Okay. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. A speaker, when they're speaking, they're as good as their last evaluation. Would you agree? A speaker is as good as their last evaluation that they received from an evaluator. You are as good as your last evaluation. Agree? Put it in the chat. Would you?
Yes.
Put yourself on mute and just use the chat. Mrs. Zoom Master, please ensure that's the case. I'm great, yeah. A speaker is as good as his last evaluation. So that means what I'm talking about, the evaluator has got a duty. They have a fiduciary duty. Tony, you can correct me if that's not the right word. It's a low word, fiduciary duty. But have a duty to ensure that the speaker rises to the next level, no matter what the speech was, no matter what the speech was, no matter how it was delivered, no matter whether the speaker just read the speech, no matter whether the speaker fell flat and forgot his lines, didn't know what he was saying, what is the evaluator's job? Critical thinking, right? And observation. Let me just look at the chat here. It depends. Was the last evaluation helpful? That's what I mean. Is as good as his last evaluation. Whether it was helpful or not helpful, a speaker is as good as their last evaluation. Thank you. The moral, Tony, thank you so much. It's a moral and ethical duty to serve and support the speaker. Thank you, Tony. Tony is, by the way, the past district governor, District 86. And we've been friends for 17 years, is a member of Leadership Speak and a parliamentarian in the club. Thank you. And of course, he's got a law degree from the London University, which he acquired very recently. And he's doing an MBA program, by the way. So now, ladies and gentlemen, if that is the case with speaker, now let's look at the evaluator, okay? Now, an evaluator, when they are doing evaluations, an evaluator is as good as his last presentation, the feedback received and incorporated into the future presentations. So an evaluator needs to understand what they're speaking about, how they've created the content when they are speakers, how they're incorporating that feedback into their own evaluation, so they are able to give a good evaluation to the next person coming on when they are the evaluators. So an evaluator has to be a good speaker, a speaker has to be a good evaluator. So is that the chicken and egg thing? Absolutely right. One works with the other works with the one, right? But you always start, you know what I'm saying, right? You always start with speaking first, your icebreaker speech, your first, second, and third speech. You speak before you even do an evaluation, so that you begin to see what evaluations are like, right? And then you begin to evaluate, and you are going to be as good an evaluator as the evaluation you've got, and incorporated that into your presentation. Okay. Would you agree? All right. So this is the chicken and the egg thing. And to get good at this, guess what? You have to be consistent. If you're speaking once every 3 months, you're evaluating once every 4 months, or once a month, or whatever evaluations, be more consistent. Be more consistent in your speaking, be more consistent in your evaluation, and begin to put aside your disposition, begin to observe and give that critical thinking to the content and how it was done, which we will get into, so I will not say too much right now. Clear, right? So I've set the stage for what an evaluator's duty is. As Tony says, the moral and ethical duty to serve and support the speaker. Here's what Sheryl Sandberg said. If you remember Sheryl Sandberg, for those of you who know Sheryl Sandberg, she was the chief operating officer of Facebook and the author of Lean In. And currently she is in high technology and things like that. But she says, try to seek out and appreciate brutal truth about yourself. And of course, we don't do that. We are not brutal. We don't use the word brutal, but we are direct, right? In an advanced club, of course, we are very direct, but we use a lot of empathy and yet direct. We are assertive and yet kind at the same time. Those are the things that can go together. You can be assertive, empathic, kind, and tell the truth to the speaker and to raise them to the next level. That's what happens in an advanced club. Honest feedback is key to improving and getting better. So if you are here for honest feedback and tell the speaker what they need to improve on and where they've done great and where they're effective, and be more direct than in a community club, this is the place to be. I always say this, ladies and gentlemen, when we provide feedback, we are serving and inspiring each other to the next level. We become part of a transformative process that impacts everyone and leaves a legacy. All right, that is what feedback means to me. Now, I'm sure that the agenda has been posted, so have a look at it. Paramjit, you've posted the notes. Everyone, you can take notes in the thing that Paramjit had posted for the notes.
For Nicole.
So Paramjit, you're putting some notes for me there. Who is this note for? I mean, who is the speaker?
Nicole. Nicole.
All right, thank you very much. So thank you, Angeli, for posting that. All right. In an evaluation, here's the thing. Evaluations are key to understanding our strengths. Evaluations are essential for recognizing our areas of growth, and evaluations are a pathway to continuous improvement and to excellence. All right, it's right there over here. This is what we are doing. We are training our mindsets to make sure that we are effective in recognizing strengths, recognizing areas for growth, and where there's spaces for improvement. And also, evaluations are not just about measuring success, it's about understanding failures. Now, I don't really call it failures. I mean, that's the wrong word to use perhaps on this slide, but is where the speaker may have fallen short of what they are really capable of doing, okay? And that's what it means. So let me just check here, the reaction button, okay. So it's about not measuring failures, but about where the speaker may have fallen short of what their real strengths really are and where they could really go to. It's not about celebrating achievements. It's about learning from setbacks for a speaker. So evaluators, you need to understand this is your mindset when you're looking at a speech. All right. So here we go. Here are the elements of critical thinking in an evaluation. This is what you probably came for. This was, I just set up the groundwork for you. Now, this is what an evaluator should really be doing during a presentation. With all those things that we've talked about in the background, because of their understanding of what the speech should be about, especially in an advanced club or as an advanced evaluator in any club anywhere in the world, or any leader anywhere in the world outside in the real world. Ladies and gentlemen, the first thing is, of course, always about while the speaker is speaking. Oh, sorry. Before I go on, while the speaker is speaking, I just wanted to tell you, take notes right now, right, for what I'm saying. I'm a speaker, but when the speech is going on, we have two speakers. Make sure you take notes. For all the evaluators, especially, take notes, and all the guests here, right? Because I would like the guests and other members who are not doing an evaluation to put it in the chat what they think about the speech. What is the title of the speech is one thing you'll pay attention to. How did they open the speech? What are the key points in the body? And how the content is layered to move towards the conclusion. All right. These are the key things in any presentation, whether it's a 5-minute, 7-minute, 20-minute, an hour presentation, 3-day presentation. If you've been to one of my trainings, long trainings, right? So it's always that. Now, here it is. As an evaluator, ladies and gentlemen, when you are listening to a speech, How was it structured? What was the organization? How was it organized? Analyze well how the speaker structured their speech. Did they have a clear opening, body, and conclusion, especially the conclusion, because it's always about the audience and the audience's takeaway, always, especially in an advanced club. Even if in an advanced club, they're talking about mentorship and they're talking about the mentors I had, but in the end, they have to say, what's in need for the audience? The audience are not just sitting there listening to the report of somebody saying, I did this and I had this mentor, but so what is the audience's takeaway? It is always going to be about the audience in the end. And make sure that did their ideas flow logically. Critical thinking involves the ability to organize your thoughts coherently as an evaluator. And did the speaker do the same thing? Did they organize their thoughts? Was there coherence in the thought? How did the thoughts and the layers of the speaking, the content, point number one, point number two, point number three, how did they flow and did they build upon each other to a crescendo, which is the conclusion? That's the structure and the organization of a speech. How was the presentation layered? Did it drive towards making a point? What was the point of that particular speech, which is the conclusion, right? I cannot emphasize enough. Here's the other thing that we ask in an advanced club to really listen for. What was the speech all about? Was it about to inform or instruct us? Was it to inspire us? Was it to influence us? What did the speaker do? Was it more to motivate us? Did we get motivated? Did we get inspired or influenced? Was it just information? Was it instructional? Right now, I'm doing an instructional type of presentation. Hopefully, with bits of influence and persuasion and motivation at the same time, which is a training really, right? But did the speaker persuade? Did they negotiate with the crowd, especially if you're in sales? Right? And you're making a sales type of presentation in the real world. What are you doing? You are really negotiating with your prospects. And you can learn that here in Toastmasters and practice before you can take it out in the real world. Isn't that great? Right? For $60 a year, I mean, $60 every 6 months to learn all these skills is just amazing. And of course, some of us do entertaining speeches. There's a pathway for entertaining speeches, humorous speaking, right? So you could be entertaining and so on. But again, I must mention, pay attention to the conclusion. How did the speaker end the speech? If you've watched the World Champions of Public Speaking, that is the key thing that they're working on, the title and the conclusion, and then everything in between. And the conclusion is really where it's the cherry on the cake. It's above the icing. And if this isn't clear, it doesn't matter how good your content was, how good your opening was. If this isn't clear, you've lost it. The audience will say, why did I even come here and waste my time? Would you agree? Conclusion, the key message and takeaway is so important. What do you guys think? Let's have it in the chat. Let's have a look. And thank you very much. Out of about 80 people, we have only one. Oh, okay. People are putting in. Very important. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Agreed. Thank you. Okay, good. I will use this advice when I listen to the WCPS next month. Absolutely, Ray. Absolutely, you will see that. Not only next month, but also, if you go to YouTube and listen to any world champion of public speaking, you will hear that. I've interviewed a lot of them over the past year, as you know, here in a podcast that I do. And they all say the same thing, right? But absolutely watch for that. The World Champions of Public Speaking, that's in about 3 weeks, right? I'll be glued to my, well, I'm not going there physically, but I'm going to be glued to my screen to make sure that I watch all the speakers, the semifinals and the finalists, of course. How many of you are going to Anaheim, California? If you are, put that in the chat. Are you going to Anaheim? Anyone? Or are you going to be watching online? If you're watching online, just say online. Oh, Alex is going to Anaheim. Wonderful. Online, expected to go. Wow, wonderful. Amazing number of people are going, and a lot of people are online. I'll be online, of course. My business doesn't allow me to travel too much. I have to be, I'm speaking throughout, and I get called to a lot of places to speak. And of course, my training business and all that, I can't just afford to go to Anaheim. One day I might go to Anaheim, well, to wherever it is going to be, the convention. All right, second point, ladies and gentlemen. What is the second point? Clarity of the message. Was the message clear? Did the speaker understand what they were talking about? And we all know sometimes the speaker will open with a great opening. They have this audience, they grab the attention of the audience, and then the message starts to sort of, they're going over here, they're going over there. They haven't really thought of the content well. There's no critical thinking. And this is where you will catch it. If there's no critical thinking, the message will not be clear as to how it has been layered, right? The different points. When I say layers, of course, layer 1 is, point number 1, layer 2 is point number 2, layer 3 is point number 3, and so on, and how it is layered to a final crescendo, which is the conclusion. So you have to assess as an evaluator whether the speaker effectively conveyed the main message. Was there critical thinking involved in crafting the content, right? Critical thinking requires the ability to distill complex ideas into clear, understandable points. Let me repeat that. And it's written in your notes if you're looking at the notes, and if you're writing your own notes, thank you. Critical thinking requires the ability to distill complex ideas into clear, understandable points. Clarity of message. This is so key. You really have to listen carefully, and you really have to make, as the speaker is speaking, make sure you write a few notes. You don't, of course, write it in detail. I do, because if I don't, my attention is like in 20 different directions. So I really I write a bit more detailed notes than what normally most people do to just hold my attention. I'm one of those highly creative people whose attention you can't hold on to for too long. Call it ADHD. I don't know what it is. And Angeli here understands what I mean, right, Angeli? So Angeli is another member from Arizona. Okay, so clarity of message is important, and make sure you're writing notes, your key points that you will be doing an evaluation on as for the speaker. Next point. Use of evidence. Now, what do I mean by use of evidence? The speaker will at times have references or statistics, or they'll say this, I heard about this, and I heard about this, and this is what's going on, and so on. This poll was taken, and this is the results, but tell me the source. Tell me the source of your research. Evaluate, as an evaluator, you go to evaluate whether the speaker supported the claims, and it has to be a strong support with relevant evidence and examples. If that's what they're using, if they've done a research type of work, it's not their personal story, okay? And they're using that, quotes and all those things, that they actually make it very clear where it came from. And we know from time to time, a lot of speakers pull in examples because they heard somebody say something and they say, oh, it must be the truth, and then use it in their speech. And as we know, social media is full of stuff that is not the truth. And a lot of us read the social media, we think it is the truth, and we bring it into our lives, into our speaking, and we think it is the truth. And it may not be the truth. Even artificial intelligence sometimes doesn't understand the difference between truth and fiction. If you're totally using artificial intelligence to help you, you might get into trouble. So make sure that you check your sources as a speaker. Make sure as an evaluator, you hear acutely, observe what the speaker is presenting, the evidence and the examples. Critical thinking relies on evidence to support arguments. Okay? And as an evaluator, you got to understand that part about the speaker. So that's the use of evidence. And we don't know, of course, today's speakers, whether it's person stories or not. We'll hear whether they are using that or not, of course. All right. The key factor is engagement with the audience. Now, I'm trying my best to engage you all by asking you questions as I go along and say, use the chat and tell me what you think, all right? So I'm beginning to engage my audience here currently. There's so many different ways of engaging an audience. Yes, the pause. Did you see that pause? I paused for quite a while. I was getting your attention back on me. Because if you keep hearing my voice, boom, 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 and I'm not non-stopping, and I keep going, our brains cannot function that quickly. That our conscious brain, our subconscious brain is, of course, always alert and listening to everything. But our conscious brain that is analyzing what's being said and internalizing what's being said is slower. Right? So pausing could be one of those things that engages the audience, right? Props. I'm also engaging you with the slide at the back, right? For example. So consider how well the speaker engaged the audience. Did they use anecdotes, questions, techniques? Some of the techniques you see, I'm using them right here, right? What sort of techniques did they use? Critical thinking includes adapting to your audience's needs and reactions. So what I mean is, a speaker has to make sure that they are speaking to the audience's needs, that their audience, they understand their audience, and they've spoken to them in a way by producing the right information and engaging them. And as an observer, who is the evaluator, you as an evaluator, you're going to make sure that the audience engagement and reaction, how they're reacting, especially in an online club, right? Where there's, like, as you can see, more than 80 people, I believe. I can see 87 people here. How are they, is there any engagement? What are the faces saying? How are they reacting? And when there's so many people, the chat is the best place for us to sort of engage the audience and make sure how they're reacting. Next point. Language and rhetoric. Words are so important, and how they're constructed together, and how when they come together, what meaning do they unleash out in the real world? What is the meaning of those words? And did they say those quotations or words that were put together that really engages the audience's mind and brain, and they had that aha moment? What was the language and the vocabulary and the rhetoric that the speaker used? Did they use persuasive techniques effectively? Critical thinking encompasses the use of whether they were informing, inspiring, influencing, motivating, persuading, or negotiating, or even entertaining, and what sort of language was used in each one of those cases. If I'm instructing and informing, which I'm doing right now, my languaging is very, very different, and how the questions I'm asking is very different than if I was standing here and telling you my story to influence you, or a storytelling about my story. It would be a different type of language, different type of posing, different type of movement, right? So all those things you're going to be acutely aware of. Was that movement, that emotion, the posing, the language, the vocabulary right for that particular type of speech? And a speech that is designed to influence will be a different type of language. A speech that's designed to motivate, and the pace and the tempo would be totally different, right? And the way I'm speaking, hopefully you, of course, I'll be getting a silent evaluation later on from the Vice President of Education, how well I did, and he'll be telling me how well I did today in my presentation. Next is delivery skills. Oh, we've done that. Sorry, language and rhetoric. Sorry, delivery skills. So delivery skills is, of course, I just talked about it together with the previous point, right? How was it delivered? Besides the language and the vocabulary and so on, how was the tone and the pacing and the gestures and the eye contact and the movement? Of course, because I'm training, I'm not just moving too much, but if it was storytelling and so on, or inspiring, I would move around a little bit more, right? Would you agree? So those delivery skills are so important in terms of good delivery skills are so essential in effective delivery of your speech. If you are on a stage, not in this rectangle here in Zoom, of course, even more so, right? The delivery skills have to be very different than when it is in the Zoom arena. But the tone and the pacing should be the same, except for the gestures and the movement, right? They would be different from online to a real stage. A confident, engaging delivery can enhance the impact of critical thinking, how well it was thought out, whether the speaker knew where to pause, whether the speaker knew where to move, and the gestures they were using while they were speaking, so that it was consistent with the message at that particular point in time about what they were talking about. That's delivery skills. Now, you can see as an evaluator in an advanced club, you need to be a pretty good speaker. But you don't start there, of course. If you've just joined, you will get there to be a great speaker and a great evaluator in an advanced club. That is our purpose. Now, ladies and gentlemen, and for everyone else here, this is so important. Because this is an online club and I'm speaking in an online forum, the evaluator must mention the Zoom presence. Because if it was in a physical space, in a physical room, the evaluator will always tell the speaker how they used the stage and where they moved and how they moved around on the stage, right? So in the Zoom rectangle here that I have, how well am I using this rectangle, right? What is my Zoom presence? Whether the lighting is good lighting. What is my background in the background? So am I visible from my background? Is the background too cluttered? Is there the pictures or whatever there is in the background, right? Did I use the speaking space correctly? If I moved, there was a blocking what was written behind me. If that's what I want to do, is to show what's written behind me and so on. Was there eye contact? Was the gestures good enough? So dear evaluators, today I want to make sure that this is not a physical arena. So in the Zoom arena, if I may, what was their Zoom presence? How did they? It's called framing. This is called framing. This is a technical word for used in filming and videography and so on. Is how well the subject was framed in the area that they were speaking in. Framing involves the lighting, how well the lighting was, where the shadows were, what is in the background, was the speaker very clear, and they didn't sort of disappear into the background and so on. All right. By the way, I'm using a green screen and I'm using what is called PowerPoint in Windows, but I use Keynote in the Mac Apple system. So that's why you see what you see here. For those of you who are wondering what's this technology that he's using, that's the technology I'm using. Okay, good. And now the last but not least, here's the most important thing about I want to pause here and just smile to myself. Time and time again, as soon as the evaluator opens their mouth, and you have done that so many times yourself, and I have tended to do that in the past. Sometimes I fall in that trap when I'm not thinking critically. I fall in that trap, and that is what it is. Avoid. Wow, I loved it. What a great speech. Amazing speech. and yet the speech was flat, but you want to make the speaker feel good, and that's what you end up saying to make them feel good. Yeah, we are not here to make the speaker feel good or bad. We are here to get the speaker go to the next level. Beginning your evaluation with, wow, I love this, I love that, it's amazing, it was awesome. Avoid saying those words, hyperbolic words. Avoid at all costs. Don't fall into the trap. Train your mind to think of where the speaker was effective, where they excelled, where they could improve, where they could be more effective, where they could really excel better. Those are the things you should be saying, not I love this and I love that. I know it's your opinion and you like this or you dislike that, but avoid saying that, especially in an advanced club. All right? Or avoid it. So what should you do? I already said that. To excel at your feedback and communicating to the speaker, what you should say is, you excelled at this particular thing, you were effective at whatever it is that they were doing, right? And where they could be more effective. And even when you conclude, don't say, oh, you were awesome anyways, you know, and I look forward to your next speech. Don't say that ever. Which brings me to the last point here, ladies and gentlemen, and I can see the green light is on, so we are ahead of time because I'm about to conclude this training for you. It is summarizing, summarizing, summarizing. As an evaluator, you only have 3 minutes. I know you could go up to 3 minutes and 30 seconds if you wish, right? But as an evaluator, you not only have you given an evaluation of the whole speech in under 3 minutes or 3 minutes, but you got to summarize your evaluation at the end. Time and time again, in fact, 95% of the time, the summary is always missing. 95% of the time. So today, let's see if the evaluators missed that or not. But the summary is so necessary when you summarize before you exit this stage. Summarize your main points at the end. What are the main points you were good at or you excelled at XYZ? Here's what you could improve on. And I look forward to your next speech, etc., whatever that is, right? And keep the speaker inspired in your summary. Effective conclusion highlights the critical thinking that you put into thinking through your evaluation, how you put it together, how you the areas of improvement and the areas of encouragement that the speaker will take to the next project. That is a summary, and summary should be, because it's only a 3 minute, maximum 3 minutes and 30 seconds, the summary should be delivered in under 30 to 45 seconds. So it means clear thinking, right? Clear thinking, great critical thinking, and then delivering the speaker to the next level. Because the speaker is as good as their last evaluation. Are they going to rise to the next level when you evaluate the speaker? And you can only be a good evaluator if, when you were being evaluated, you took the feedback and used what you wanted to, discard what you didn't want to, and take your speaking to the next level. And you didn't prepare your speech 2 days before you wanted to speak, but at least 2 weeks before, and you practiced your speech. Did you get that point, right? Did you hear that? Practice your speech way before. Don't write your speeches on the day of delivering it. It means you haven't done the project. If you go to Pathways and you look at your project, how big is that project to read? How many pages is there? You couldn't have possibly read that in 2 days and gone through that, especially if you're doing that path for the first time. You have to really read each and every page, each and every video that is presented, and do it as a project. It's called a project. It's not like the legacy program. For those of you who've been here before 2020 and did the legacy program, it's not that, right? You had 3 pages to read and you could write your speech or on the day off or 2 days before. This is a project, and take it seriously. If you just do 2 pathways the way it's supposed to be done, you can become an excellent speaker and a leader. And it's up to the evaluators and the speakers to make sure they perform well as they're supposed to be performing. Of course, if you're just starting out, we don't expect that, of course. But as you go along, we expect that to be at the next level and the next level and the next level. And so that was my summary of this training, ladies and gentlemen. So now, ladies and gentlemen, here it is. Here are all the points I was talking about. You can take a screenshot if you wish. I believe the notes have all these points anyways. If you have the notes downloaded, that was posted in the chat. I will ask the Vice President of membership here to post the link to our guest book again. Leya, if you can put the guest book, that'll be great. But this is my summary, ladies and gentlemen, and I think I'm done with this training. Let me see if I got anything else. Yes, one more thing. Remember, every presentation is about the audience. It is never about the speaker. It's not about me when I'm making the presentation. So as an evaluator, make sure it was about the audience. What was it? What's in it for the audience? Key thing right at the end. Because we don't want to waste the audience's time by being here and it was all about me or something that they couldn't relate to. Right? So I hope that I provided a lot of value today here. And it was not only, it wasn't about me at all. It was about us all together as Toastmasters. Okay. As a speaker, it is, sorry, delete speaker, it's evaluator. Or speaker, sorry, speaker and evaluator, it is your duty to add value to the audience. So as an evaluator today, it's your duty to add value to the audience. As a speaker, it's your duty to add value to the audience. And so the evaluator will watch for this. Did the speaker add value to the audience? And when you are doing an evaluation, are you adding value to the audience and the speaker? All right. And sorry, I can't read that. Oh, there it is. As an evaluator, listen for this add value. Okay. That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, I conclude my training here and I will pause. So, Madam Timer, you can shut down the timing for this particular presentation and note down the time, how long I took. You can put it in the chat later for us. Now, ladies and gentlemen, comes the part where we actually ask the speaker to come and speak and actually begin to put what I've just done the training on into practice. Now, we don't expect our evaluators to be perfect or even excel today. This is just a practice run. So dear evaluators, if you're a less seasoned Toastmaster, if you're a less seasoned leadership speak member, not to worry. This is not all about judgment. It's all about evaluations. We are putting aside our disposition. And we're just going to be observing you as you evaluate. And as an evaluator, just observe the speaker, okay? And make the notes, make the notes. What was the title? How did they layer was it attention grabbing? Did that grab the attention of the audience? Was it relevant to the audience? How did they layer it? What was the conclusion? What was the summary, right? So as an evaluator, do the best you can. There's no judgments here because we are Toastmasters, right? Thank you. Let me see what's going on in the chat before I call on the speaker. So this gives the speaker time to prep up. Let me just, I've got a bit of problem with my technology here. Move my technology a bit. There we go. Let me see if I can. Oh, my technology. All right. Let's see what's going on here. So, ladies and gentlemen, one last question. How did you find this presentation today? Was it something that was up to your expectations? You expected something more, something less? Useful, perfect. Thank you, Jyothi. Yeah, just be honest. I'm a big boy. If you didn't like it, say so. If you liked it, say so. Whatever it is, say it in the chat here. And please fill in the guest book so that we can and put in the guest book the comments because I want to understand I want to understand what you really liked about this presentation, where I could improve. So you could also put it in our guest book as well, right? And there's a comment section. And if you're interested in becoming a member, indicate that in the guest book. So Leya, if you can put that in the chat for us, that'll be great. The guest book. Let me just have a quick look. Very insightful, great viewpoints, helpful, insightful, enlightening. Thank you. Perfect. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Now we'll get on to the speakers. And to do that, let me just make sure that I change my background. I changed the cluttered background, by the way. There you go. Though it says 25 countries, it's now 27 countries. We just got 2 members, one from Tanzania and one from Indonesia, and I think they are here in the meeting today. So, okay. Our first speaker, ladies and gentlemen, is Nicole Miller Douglas. Nicole, if you can spotlight Nicole here for me, with me here. Good. Again, my technology is not working. Let me just make sure. All right. There it is. There we go. Nicole, how are you today?
I am fine.
Good. By the way, Nicole is from Jamaica. We got the Jamaican flag right over there somewhere. There you go. It's right at the top there. So welcome, Nicole. Nicole's been a member for about 3 or 4 months, but she's an experienced Toastmaster. And today she's, let me just look at the agenda over here. Today she's speaking from Innovative Planning for Social Media Presence. Is that what it is? We changed that, right?
I'm speaking from Motivational Strategies Level 1.
Correct. Correct. So I did see that later on. So Motivational Strategies Level 1. And what is the title of your speech?
A race I will always remember.
A race I will always remember. Yes, Paramjit had put it. It's floated up in the chat somewhere, so I can't even see it. But ladies and gentlemen, there you go. There it is. Motivational strategies. Speak with a purpose. I believe it is Motivational Strategies Level 1. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Nicole Miller Douglas. A race I will always remember. A race I will always remember. Nicole, go ahead.
Watch out for this. Watch out for this. The to the world symbol is one that many Jamaicans demonstrate because our Jamaican icon, Usain Bolt, uses it. It has become his signature pose. In Jamaica, we've experienced high performance athletes, but whenever a mic is put before them, how do you feel about your performance today? There is that deafening silence. They are speechless. They don't know what to say because their communication skills have not been worked on simultaneous to their athletic skills. So when it's time for them to speak, no one really wants to speak. But I've been seeing improvement over the years in that area. There are 3 races that are memorable to me. One, I'm still running, but the other 2, I'm not even sure if I have won them. But the very first race was when I was in the delivery room delivering my twin babies. It was a time when I really anticipated looking forward to the race of Usain Bolt. It was a year of the Olympics in 2008. We all were waiting for that moment just to see Usain run. But I was also having a delivery at that time. So happened I was having 2 babies. I was in that room pushing and pushing with all my might. Then I heard no support. I heard no doctor. I heard no husband. I heard no one. I looked to the right and I realized everyone was pierced, looking at the television, watching that race that I have been waiting to see, but could not see because I was in a very critical moment of my life. I screamed just to get the doctor's attention. Hello, I'm right here. You need to focus on the safe delivery of my 2 babies. I was livid. I was upset. I wanted to quarrel. But the pain was too much. I had to concentrate on what was most important. That was my first memorable race, running against Usain Bolt at about 2 p.m. in the afternoon. I was there in the delivery room trying to get the babies out as quickly as possible while he was on the Olympic track, trying to make his place first place so that all Jamaicans can celebrate. My second significant race was when my second daughter was practicing for a primary school champs. She was at the practice race. There she was, running with all her might. She looked left, she looked right. She realized that she was in the lead. She kept running and running and running. Then she looked left and she looked right again. She saw a person started speeding past her. She began slowing down, crying. But there I was at the finish line, waiting with the vitamin E. I recognized I needed to extend that vitamin E. I had to call out to her, run, my baby, run, come to mommy. I'm right here waiting for you. Just run, run, my baby. And that was when she started speeding up again. She ran right into my arms crying. I was speechless. I didn't know what to say. I have always been an introvert, not practicing my communication skills, not trying to develop them, not trying to see how I could improve them. All I could do was just hold her in my arms and say, I'm right here for you. But in hindsight, I thought that there was something I could say just to make that impact, that when she reflects on that moment, she will remember that it's not just about coming first place, but it's about putting out your best and trying to do even better on your next occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, it is important to connect. It is important to connect, to convince, because that daughter now is a teenager. And she has abandoned her dreams of becoming an athlete because something happened and I was not able to connect, to convince her to continue on her journey. Communication is important to connecting and convincing so that persons can be the best version of themselves. The third race I said I'm running is the one to be able to communicate with my daughter during her teenage years, to convince her to return to athletics and see where it will take her. It might just be her ultimate self in life, but because I believe I'm not able to connect, to convince her, I feel defeated. But here I am at Leadership Speak, developing my leadership skills so that I can feel confident to connect with her during her teenage years. It might not be connecting with a teenager for you. It might be connecting in a way that will convince your employer that you are the best person for this promotional opportunity. Do you need to connect better? Well, join Leadership Speak. You might just be able to develop those communication skills so you can connect better. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much. I was making some notes. Thank you for your wonderful speech here. Of course, I see I fell in the trap of wonderful speech. So ladies and gentlemen, now I will turn this over to our Vice President of Education, who is also the General Evaluator. And he'll give a preamble while the evaluators are thinking through the evaluation. and then he'll call the evaluators one at a time according to the agenda. So, Paramjit Singh, welcome.
Thank you very much, trainers and Toastmasters of the day today. Thank you
How
very
are you
much.
today? How
I'm
are you
fine.
today?
Yeah,
Good.
fine. Yeah.
Good, good. So please, you can take over now, and I will retire for the moment.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Ram. Thank you. Hello, everyone. How was the training? 30 to 45 minutes of training, listening to all the nuggets Brahm has already passed on to us. I always have one question in my mind. If there was no evaluation section in our meetings, or even Mr. Smedley might have not put in the evaluations, what would be our level of communication? Can you imagine? Without any evaluations, we would be at our own. So that's why evaluations are very important. And more important is critical evaluations. Now, for the evaluators who are going to just speak after some, we are having about 3 minutes for them to write their notes. Now, about the critical evaluation. You know, when Brahm was talking about why should we have such a special training for the people, for the evaluation, critical evaluation? Because that is one thing which raises the level of the person you are evaluating. Giving ample feedback certainly helps them. And this is not just contained only in the leadership speak. As a leader also, you have to give the feedback to different people at different intervals, even in your official field. You know, how do you get the text, how you speak to them, and how you give them feedback, not always pleasing them, and not always destructive feedback to them. So this was very important. And as the evaluator, you have to be a critical evaluator because, as Brahm already said, you are the product of your last evaluator. So if you were not given good critical evaluations before, you would have not raised to this level of communication. So it is very important for all of us to have all the 9 nuggets what he has given to us before giving our evaluation. And I don't think 30 to 40 minutes are very much it's not it's very small amount of time what he has spent. Actually, every 9 points he has shared required roughly about 30 to 40 minutes of critical thinking, critical examining. I will say that we need every critical point, we need about 30 to 45 minutes of experience what DTM Brahm Memone has and want to share with us. And he has contained into that 40 minutes. And when I saw the chat, I am really very much happy to see that people have got somebody said new ideas, new viewpoints. Even when I go to his trainings, I got it the same feelings and have risen to this level. So to next go to further, I would now like to call upon our first evaluator for today. And our first evaluator is Angeli, Zoom Master. Can you, yeah, Angeli. Angeli, the stage is yours, the virtual stage is yours. Thank you, Angeli. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Paramjit. And for time, how much time do I have for this evaluation? Let's get on with it, whatever the time is. Nicole, I thank you very much for giving this speech, which had me running along with you to see what is memorable. What surprised me with your title, A Race I Will Always Remember, is how you brought it into going from a race I will always remember to all of a sudden giving us 3 different races. The race to the birth of your twin babies, the race to bringing your baby girl home at the end of the race that she was doing, And now the race is with her being a teenager to connect back with her and hopefully her ambitions, along with you showing yours. This race was very interesting, how I was still curious on why I'm listening to 3 when 1 could have been expanded, because it is very important to continue with the theme of your title. So when it pivoted at the end, just when I thought we were at the end of the race, listening to the speech, you started talking about this phrase of maybe it is not connecting with a teenager, maybe it is with your company. I understand the pivot, that it is also a race to feeling that connection. However, when Leadership Speak or Toastmasters was brought into play, it was such a disparity between the races that you were remembering that it did not connect well with me. It felt like it was an end of a race that I didn't know I was even running with you. The key points that I was able to understand was, watch out for this, watch out for this. This rhetoric was so good. And when I was expecting for you to be able to do it or loop it back within your title, loop it back to Usain Bolt when you wanted a quarrel and you won, or that you brought your kiddo in your arms and you won with her at that moment. We missed that. I missed that. The layering to persuade, to remember the race. I will, in my case, as of right now, I will remember that I didn't get to win with you. I will remember that somehow Toastmasters was part of this, but it wasn't memorable yet. I look forward to seeing your next go at it, and we can truly win with you. Back to you, Toastmaster Paramjit.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Angeli. Our second evaluator is Carine Baptiste. Carine.
Thank you, Paramjit. Congratulations to Nicole for this inspiring speech. This is my pleasure to evaluate. I will give you 3 positive aspects where you excelled at. First point, your story. 3 illustrations show how do you succeed to show with us 3 races with your twins, with your first daughter, and also your own objective. Your key message was very clear. We feel this objective to be a great communicator through these 3 illustrations. You have succeeded in showing your good presence through online virtual background, and also you have used perfectly gestures when you show with your daughter to describe turn right, turn left, and also you move your head so we can be connected with you. Your story was very impacted about us. I really also appreciate, and also with the audience, this impactful story. And we can see a good example with Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt is a big champion, and this Olympic Games story show with this analogy, how do you manage to see this competition and also to manage your trade? And also we feel this conviction to succeed in it. In terms of recommendation, I suggest to modulate your voice, because your tone during your speech was very high. And also you can use to slow down, especially when you describe your story with your daughter. Maybe you can add some emotion using dialogues. If you can imitate your daughter with your slow voice, in order to show how does she succeed in competing and also to arrive the line. And also if you can use images to create more impact with us. To sum up, very good speech with true story to be a good, great communicator, and also you can improve your vocabulary and also add some visual images. So for the next speech, I wish you good luck. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Carine. Our next evaluator is, the third evaluator is Mrinal Kanti Ghosh. Mrinal, this virtual stage is yours.
Good day, everyone. At the end of the day, we all are storytellers. Onus on us how we execute things. Nicole, thank you so much for sharing your transformation journey with us. First, I want to connect with you regarding your strong storytelling capabilities. You talk about your 3 stories with a strong title, Race I Always Remember. Yes, I also always remember your story. Your 3 races, starting from journey as a motherhood, starting from then you're talking about your journey of your girl, and then third, you're talking about how you communicate with your daughters. So 3 strong story you already shared with all of us. Next, I love it. Audience connection. How you connect with the audience. I love when you try to connect with your emotion, with some of the gesture you try to capture for the audience. Like you talk about when you got emotional, when you talk about the Jamaican icon, Usain Bolt, and how he inspired you in your life. You also mentioned that. And how you want to transform, although he's a very good runner, but not a good communicator, and how you want to shaping your life and your daughter's life. I think that is remarkable. And you use a lot of times with emotional connection with the audience. 3 stories, you try to emphasize on each story with emotional connection with the audience. I think that is the important for any storyteller. Third, I like you most about your vocal variety. Right usage of vocal variety is always you shoot on the next level as a speaker. And starting with capturing the audience attacks within 3 to 5 seconds. I think that is important. And you show your gesture. And then you try to connect your national icon story with your own journey. The journey becoming a better version of yourself. And you try to use some of the vocal variety. How you use that? You're talking about when you are in the delivery room. You are respected to your husband, doctors, everybody seems to hear. And enjoy, I'm screaming. You just open up. So I thought that's a great example of use of proper audience connections. Next, I would just like to challenge you. You can work on Zoom presence with proper, because we are on the online platform, that we can easily do that. And next, you can share your emotional with body language. You are great as storyteller with audience connection. Try to connect with your body language. 3 separate stories. You can use 3 separate space for the story building. As overall, I must say, I love your storytelling capabilities, focal variety, audience connection. You may work on Zoom presence and body language to becoming better version of yourself. All the best to you.
Thank you, Mrinal. Thank you very much. Our fourth evaluator is Nocawe Nkosi. Toastmaster Nocawe. The stage is yours.
Nicole, you are a good storyteller. You have excelled in crafting your speech with excellence. Why do I say that? You were able to use different stories and you were able to intertwine them to mean what you were talking about in terms of delivering your speech. For example, when you opened, you used an explanation of some sort that Japanese are good in race, meanwhile they are not that good in their communication skills. After that, when I expected that you'll continue with that, you've just captured my attention by using an example of the birth of your children. So there you've used more than 2 or 3 stories, yet you all use them to support the title of your speech. Well done on using the clarity of your voice. The way you spoke, it showed that you owned your own story. The body language and your facial expression meant one thing. What I want to challenge you to work on is your Zoom presence. I would have loved to see your hand gestures because your body language was so positive. So I would have wanted to use the way you used your hand gestures as whether do they go with your body or what. But in terms of that, I've missed that. The second thing that I would want to challenge you on, try not to use so many stories because one way or the other, you might lose your audience. Try to stick to one story and relate it to your title and connect the story, your title, and your conclusion. There, I picked up that you were able to connect the opening of your story with your conclusion, but the melody or the body of your speech, somehow it lost me. Again, try to engage your audience more by asking a question. Your speech was very well crafted and educational and inspirational, but I would have loved to see you engaging your audience, asking them something that relates to your personal story. Nicole, you are a very good storyteller. You know how to craft your speech. Try to work on reducing the examples and be specific in terms of the takeaway message that you want your audience to take. You are a good storyteller. Back to you, TM Paramjit.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Nocawe. Our fifth evaluator is Bindu Thankappan. Bindu, the virtual stage is yours.
Congratulations. You excelled at doing your own personal story, which has got a good opening. You glued the audience by the real things that was happening in your story. That is by 3 different settings. And you were able to bring emotions in the 3 stories. I would really want you to work on 3 different things. Though it was a good opening and the content was good, the conclusion, I was not able to relate, or there was a gap in the content. There was a voidness because later on you were giving us a story, then finally you tell you were not able to connect and convince your teenage daughter. And later, last, you told join Leadership Speak. I would really challenge you to bring in, because you have already been 4 months past joining the Leadership Speak. And what was the takeaways that you gained by joining the Leadership Speak? And how could you enhance the connect and convincing part in you And you could also, instead of bringing these 3 stories, you could at least give 1 story and tell that after coming to Leadership Speak, this is what I gained, and this I applied in my family by talking to my teenage doctor, and I was able to connect and convince. And that's complete the loop. See, that is a takeaway for the audience. The 3 days you remember, you could remember. But what the audience, why should they remember? There should be a reason. So you could very well connect that by your own story, by just giving 1 story and bringing these 2 aspects, that what are the, whether it was listening skills, whether it was persuasive influence, what was the real skill that you have learned in these 4 months of joining Leadership Speak, which could really enhance your connectivity, your convincing power with your daughter. Said that, you could also improve the Zoom presence because it's an online meeting. Last but not the least, this 3, the third one, the 3 days you remember, you could also relate to or give another conclusion, telling that by joining Leadership Speak, I want to make my days remember, and therefore I have to improve on these things. To summarize, an amazing storyteller you are, if you could improve on this connection and convincing part, integrating it to the title and complete the loop with a good Zoom presence, you'll become more good speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Bindu. Thank you all the evaluators for coming on the stage immediately after the speech, after 3 minutes, and the evaluation you have done. Now, I will like to have expert comments and the critical way of looking at the evaluations. Let me invite our trainer, distinguished Toastmaster Brahm Memone on the stage. DTM Brahm Memone, the stage is yours.
Thank you. And now is the difficult part about doing an overall evaluation of the whole thing. We had 5 evaluators, and it was clear from what they had said that most of them caught the disconnect between one part of the speech and the conclusion. And there was a disconnect, and most of them caught it very well. And there was a bit of a confusion in them as to what the speech was really about. So they did well. They talked about the storytelling part and how Nicole is great at storytelling. Absolutely. When we bring stories, our own personal stories, and tell them in an open forum, especially, when you are giving birth to your child, and those are intimate moments, right? And you brought that to our attention, and what was going through on that particular day in 2008 when Usain Bolt was running for Jamaica. So our evaluators were able to pretty much do that in a way. Some of our evaluators didn't summarize at the end well or correctly. Let me just give an evaluation of Nicole's speech myself so that the evaluators can see where they missed out rather than me picking out each evaluator. So let's begin with the conclusion. Now, how many of you here, so let's use the chat here and let's indulge in the chat with the rest of the audience. We are, of course, trying to improve Nicole to the next level. Remember, we are not here to judge. We are evaluators and we are Toastmasters. This is from that perspective only. So you're listening and your feedback should be from that perspective. All right, from whatever you're going to say in the chat or to whoever you're going to say here, always wear your evaluator's hat and empower and encourage the speaker. So now, how many of you did feel that there was a disconnect between the opening of the speech and the conclusion? If it is yes, you can say yes. If it is no, you can say no in the chat. And it's all as Toastmasters evaluations that we are doing, okay? So go ahead. So Nicole, listen to it as a good evaluation for you and the audience's takeaway, right? And did the audience really take away what they wanted to take away, right? So there was a disconnect, as you can see, right? So here's the reason, Nicole, why. And here's also, I will tell, and this is for our evaluators to really listen to what what they could have actually said in their evaluations. I know we only have 3 minutes for our evaluations. Normally, I will be, of course, taking a bit longer here, but you know, the very first thing was, of course, the title of the speech, and the title was "The Race I Will Always Remember," right? So that is the title. So the conclusion immediately would be, where is this race that you'll remember? But there was none of that, right? Directly, right from the title to the, if I jump to the conclusion. And so most of our evaluators did catch that there was a disconnect, because the ending was all about connecting and leadership speak and joining leadership speak, or connecting your life and at work, and that connection. So the title and the conclusion missed out, right? As we all can see. So that's one. We had 3 different points. So if you you know, some of our evaluators said there were 3 different stories. They caught that very well. There could have been just one story, and Angeli was as well. The first evaluator just picked on that as well. One story would have been good enough. But if you had 3 stories, it is like the race of your life and the lessons learned from bringing up your daughter, from the time you gave birth to the time where you know you were pushing her to go into athletics, which is your 3rd story, which was of course very abrupt, and then you went into the conclusion. Your 3rd point started around the yellow light. So around the yellow light, you would begin to actually conclude, not bring in a new point to begin with, right? So that's where you got to watch that. Now, here's how you could have milked. So we've talked about the disconnect. That's fine. Now, here's where you could really improve is your Zoom presence. You were right up here. So there's not much of a Zoom presence and movement, all that, in gestures and all that. So you could have moved further back and so on. And let me just change that so that I and so on. So then we could have seen your gestures. We could have seen up to your body over here. And the movement that is needed in a Zoom presence. The framing wasn't there. The lighting was good, but there was ghosting. So the Zoom presence, and I don't think any evaluator mentioned that, unless I forgot to take that note about the Zoom presence. So I think, oh yeah, one evaluator did catch that. Now, here's where you could really milk this in terms of emotion, is, you know, when you are on the bed giving birth to your child and everyone's glued to the TV. That's where, you know, the pauses, the emotion, the high voice, you know, as you're giving birth, you know, and that pause and the pain, you know, whatever you're feeling there wasn't apparent in this speech. And that you could really milk the audience, and all the females, especially in the audience, will totally understood where you're coming from, and totally grab them and pull them into your side. Yes, you could have really done that. And you missed that opportunity today to do that. So I would recommend that when you're doing this sort of a speech, there are great places to use your emotion, the motion, the vocal variety, the enunciation, the emphasis on words, right there. Okay. The other place where you missed that was, of course, and of course, where you're screaming for the doctor and all that. And between the stories, if you did want to tell the stories, pause between each story and look at the audience through the camera, and pause, and then go on to the next story, so that whenever you're making 3 different stories, there should be a pause between different ideas. Why should there be a pause between the ideas? Because our brains, we as the audience, our brains are just catching up to this new story that we've heard. We are trying to process it. And our conscious brains take a little while to process new facts and facts, right? So things like that, you could have milked that. Again, I commend you for coming up and doing a speech on your personal stories about, especially your daughter. Talking about family is not always easy, but here you are. You laid bare your personal story, your struggles, and how, as an introvert, you were failed, or you were trying your best, not failed, but trying your best to connect with your daughter and to motivate her and to bring her up. And so that could have been perhaps the more apt title and conclusion of the speech, is bringing up a daughter and so on. Okay, so that is my summary here of the whole thing. And apparently from the chat over here, most audiences do agree. I just want to read some of this, what's going on in the chat. Okay, all right, good. All right, good. So most of it was according to that. So Nicole, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for the courage to sort of speak in such a huge forum with more than, when you spoke, there were probably more than 80 people or so or 70 or 80 people, right? So it's a big forum. It takes the courage to be open and to do this. Thank you so much. We'll go on to the next speaker, and our next speaker is going to be Youselee Joseph. So if you can bring Youselee over here. Hey, Youselee, how are you? My country cousin? You're muted.
Oh,
Are
hi.
you ready?
Yes, I have to.
Good, good. By the way, Youselee just immigrated from Haiti to Canada, so she's now in Canada. She's about 60 kilometers from where I am. She's of course speaks with a little bit of a French accent, Haitian accent. And today she's going to be speaking from Dynamic Leadership 3, which is all on the agenda. So I don't need to mention that. If you can all read on the agenda what she's going to speak about. I will just introduce her speech. It's 5 to 7 minutes. It's all on the agenda. So those who are asking what's the timing of my evaluation or the speech, it's all on the agenda. Please refer to the agenda. Youselee Joseph, what if we tried again? What if we tried again? Youselee Joseph, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Trainer of the Day, colleague Toastmasters, and guests. Greeting to all of you. Persevere in a field that comes most easily to you, and your life will flow easily. What a great advice. I was 16 years old in high school when my French teacher, Mr. Eugène, mentioned my name very loudly in the class. Miss Youselee Joseph. And all the students turned to me with their accusing facial expression. Youselee, what have you done this time? Suspense. Usually, I am talkative in class, but this time I was quiet. So what happened? Then my teacher smiled and showed the paper that I have submitted to him. And then continue and say, congratulations, Miss Youselee Joseph. What a great paper that you have submitted. You have great talent for writing. And then he advised me to continue in this field at university. You can become historian, journalism, or simply a good writer. This is my advice for you. Of course, I was happy. And at my high school, I was recognized for one of the students who had great writing talent. All my teachers were saying to me, you could choose literature at university, journalism, or history. Some told me, would you like me to mentor you? I can discover that with your parents. When the time come to choose a field at university, guess what? I chose economic sciences. It was the beginning of a great crossing of the desert. Until today, I have never found a job as an economist. Welcome, frustration. More studies, career choices. Welcome, self-doubting and insecurity. In my country, papers or poems do not pay bills. You really have to publish a lot of books to be able to get money from that. So I let go with the flow. I stopped writing. Welcome, giving up. For years, I lost interest in writing, and I just let myself go with the flow of life. Those years when I wrote poems for my classmates are so far away from me now. If only I could try again. If only I could get a second chance. A second chance that I asked for, and a second chance that I get. 2 years ago, Gerda Felix, a woman that I've met on a Zoom Toastmasters meeting, asked me, Youselee, what do you do most naturally? I said, actually, there are 2 things that I can do naturally. I can listen to people and I can write stories. She said, oh, really? So I invite you in a project with me to participate in writing a book. I was happy and I grabbed this opportunity. I wrote this book with 5 other gorgeous ladies. And one of them is here today, Jennifer Ferguson. Ladies and gentlemen, here is finally a book that has my name on it. And it's not an academic document. Those few words in this book may not be the best one that I wrote, but those words represent for me the path to freedom. Those few words in this page represent a great victory. Victory over fears, victory over self-destruction, victory for self-mastery. What a feeling. My colleague Toastmasters and friends who are here today, my questions for you are, what was the last time you questioned yourself about something that you really, really want to achieve? When was the last time you grabbed the opportunity to make your dream come true? When was the last time you partnered with people who want the same thing as you? If you want to go east, you can take the path with people who are going west. Whatever your dream or objectives are, grab every opportunity. Take a dose of courage and choose good company. And feel free to try again and again. Mr. Trainer.
Just writing my last note here about the conclusion. All right, all right, all right. Good. Thank you for delivering that speech. I'll pass this on to our General Evaluator, our VP of Education, Mr. Paramjit Singh, all the way from Dubai. Paramjit, welcome back.
Thank you very much, distinguished Toastmaster Brahm. What you have just witnessed before this speech, all the guests, is a workshop followed by the round robin type of evaluation, and then again expert comment from our trainer. You know, all this is a regular feature in Leadership Speak. In Leadership Speak, every Tuesday, we have such meetings where anybody can practice his speech before even delivering or presenting it on the Saturday, or can have a round robin. There are about 12 to 12 people who all every time they attend, and all the evaluators you must have just seen. All of them are generally over there, and every time they have a round robin evaluations. After that, Brahm's expert comments on that. And that is the way every leader, every Toastmaster in leadership speak is getting the training. What we are getting on today, only one training. We are getting an opportunity to be every week to get evaluated, as well as to be evaluated by and you evaluate the other person. And that is how the level of all the evaluations are raising its bar every time. The purpose of this workshop was to help other Toastmasters out of the leadership speak also to see what is critical evaluation and how these critical evaluations can really help everyone. I have one of the regular visitor and regular Toastmaster who comes over if she want to share her experience for 1 minute. Can we have Nocawe on one? She has just given a speak evaluation. Nocawe, are you there? Toastmaster, Zoom Master, can we find Nocawe? Nocawe, just 1 minute about your experience on Tuesday's evaluation, Tuesday round robin.
Thank you, Toastmaster Paramjit. You know, like the Tuesday session has assisted me a lot because they don't only concentrate on what is happening in Toastmasters or within the leadership speak environment, but it is where you are able to network, to build relationships with the leaders in leadership speak, whereby you get guided even on things that are related to your career or your personal life as a leader. I have learned things that I didn't learn from my community clubs simply because leadership speak is an advanced club. So in terms of the way I need to conduct myself as a self-directed leader, I have been empowered, and I will never stop coming to the Tuesday session when I get an opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Nocawe. Thank you very much. I think the time of 3 minutes is all over. So I will now request our first evaluator of the second session, actually the sixth evaluator, Rana Saul. Rana, the stage is yours.
Thank you, moderator. Good morning, fellow Toastmaster, dear guest. Thank you, Youselee, for this great speech. What if we try again? What such title for a speech? By choosing a personal story, we brought since the beginning of your speech the emotion and the engaged audience by asking questions, by sharing with us advice about your journey. And also, all the ingredient of a great story was there. You excel at eye contact, Zoom presence, also vocal variety. And in terms of improvement, we may work on vocal variety and make pauses. Because when you tell story, it's important sometimes to make pauses to give audience opportunity to follow you well and to think about what you are talking about. And also, I think you need to bring more vocal variety. For instance, when you are talking about the fact that your teacher congratulates you for your great job. And also when many people speak during a story, it's important to have more vocabulary based on the kind of speakers. Overall, it was a great speech. And we will suppose to deliver a speech based on a personal story or a speech containing a story. By choosing personal story, it was a relevant choice because it was based on your own story and you brought emotion to audience. We engage audience since the beginning of your speech. And your speech was well structured from the beginning and to the end. So congratulations, you have reached the goal of your speech. That's all to my report. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Rana. I'd like to call upon our seventh evaluator, Toastmaster Mamadou. Toastmaster Mamadou, the virtual stage is yours.
Hello, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Thank you, General Evaluator. Yeah, Youselee, thank you very much for this really, really emotionally uplifting speech, connecting with storytelling. On the container, the physical environment, there was harmony. Your gestures were matching your words, and also the background, it was clear and matching your outfit. So it was a welcoming environment, and it was good to have that experience. Back to the content. As I rightly just said, your words were matching your gestures, and you took us on a journey, really emotionally uplifting. And it was a story, a real story about you. And that makes it even more connecting. And as Tony Robbins would say, it's in your moment of decisions that your destiny is shaped. And you showed us that you made decisions based on feedback that nurtured your soul, that nurtured your mind, and that helped you move forward, irrespective of doubts, irrespective of frustrations. And I love the way you structured it. You structured it in a way that brings more impact. And you use figures of speech like the path to freedom, or I would call alliteration, victory, victory, and victory. And you also use some of the words like metaphors that help us really live the situation as you lived it, and also live the path to freedom. We were feeling the freedom and how you were taking that path to freedom. And we can see that you follow the journey and it's bear fruit. And what I would recommend is, as Aruna already said, vocal variety when someone else is addressing you. That would have even made it more emotionally uplifting, trying to impersonalize other people's using different voice, like a man speaking or a lady speaking, and also pauses that will have actually helped the message sink and give a different result or more uplifting results. All in all, you gave a great, great, great speech, emotionally uplifting once again, and you gave us the way to freedom. Thank you for leading the way. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Mamadou. Our eighth evaluator is Toastmaster Jessica. Toastmaster Jessica, the virtual stage is all yours.
Thank you, Youselee, for your speech. What if we can try again? You were effective in terms of giving us the chronology. Your story followed a chronology from when you started us with when you were at school, and then you followed. There was another story about meeting someone at Toastmasters, and there was a lot of other emotions in between that you shared with us. And then the next was writing a book. And also that was also that was also filled with a lot of emotions around that. And then to a point where you encouraging us to try again. So that was a clear chronology of multiple stories there. And what I also felt was effective was when you were the French teacher at school, going back to the school, when the French teacher was showing you, I liked how you used a prop of that piece of paper, which was very clear in your speech, which got us all, we could actually see that you're using that prop to show us that the French teacher was giving you some certificate, which I thought that was really good use of prop. Effective use of anecdotes. You know, you gave us a story where the French teacher was calling you, and you took us with you there where we could hear and feel the students' eyes staring at you. I think that there was vivid imagery there where the students were looking at you and you were wondering, oh my goodness, what have I done now? I thought that was really use of vivid imagery. And also, I thought you were effective in terms of using rhetorical questions that engaged us in a way, although we weren't answering, but it was rhetorical. It made us stop and think and put ourselves in that position where you were. Your Zoom presence was great. The lighting was, you were very clear. The lighting was good. Your voice quality, we could hear you well. And you were in the middle of the frame, which was also very clear. I think for me, I think where you could have excelled more, what could have made your story even more effective would have been at the beginning when you started your introduction. Instead of starting with "Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster," I think what you could have done is given us that quote that you started off. That could have brought our attention into what you're saying, because at the leadership speak, I think just starting by going into "Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster," that can be a little bit predictable. So at the advanced level, you'd expect to be more catching. And what I liked was you tied your intro plus the end. So you started as, what if we could try again? And then with your conclusion, you took us back to, if only I could get the second chance. I thought those linked in a way. So that it made sense in terms of tying those together. We thoroughly enjoyed the speech. Like I said, there was a good chronology, but there was multiple stories in those. We could be standalone speeches by themselves, but you're effective in terms of using your props, anecdotes that you use. I enjoyed your speech, and I'm looking forward to listening to more speeches from yourself. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Jessica. Our 9th evaluator is Toastmaster Luciano Joao. Please help me welcome Toastmaster Luciano. The virtual stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You said, going to your speech, a couple of points to highlight. Points that you were effective as connecting the connection between type of your speech, and what were the project objective. So you excel at that point where the project required for you to tell a personal story, and we could see that in the content of your speech that there was a connect between what the project required and actually what you delivered. So which means you touch on the objective requirements of the project, which is a very good point. I liked the way you structured your speech, and in the structure you touched on a couple of points. I saw a couple of points that were influencing and also inspiring for the audience, which is a very good point in what you were structuring, deliver. There are a couple of points that you could be more effective at. When you were concluding your speech, I saw there were 3 to 4 points that you distilled down for a more effective speech. Try to make your conclusion between 1 to 2 points at most, and try to make it touching, so that those are the last things that the audience will retain in their minds when you finalize your speech. Try to make it short and sweet, so that people keep it in their mind. That's something to highlight. And another aspect that you were effective is use of evidence. So I using the quotes, and also using the book that you share with share here with the audience. We're able to see that. So very good work. That means that you prepare for your speech and share that information as those reference. So this is a very good point to highlight. And the other point that you could be more effective on your delivery of your speech, just to improve it, to take it to the next level, is on the use of the pauses. Depending on the point you want to make, the pauses would be shorter or longer, but try to emphasize those longer pauses to make your point. Delivery of your speech, tone of voice was very good. The presence within your Zoom presence was spot on, very good. You were effective on that. So try to work on those points to be more effective, especially using of the pauses. Okay, thank you very much. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Roshan. Thank you very much. Our last evaluator for the day is distinguished Toastmaster Vinod Panikkar. Toastmaster Vinod Panikkar, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster Paramjit. Youselee, what do you want your name to be on? Keep trying and trying for that. This message resonated with me and is going to stay with me forever. What I loved about your speech was the circular construction. The title and the ending matched perfectly. What if we tried again? And the ending was try again and try again. The second thing that I liked about your speech was your third story. It really moved me. The purpose of a story is to elicit emotions, and you elicited every emotion in the right way when you were speaking about the journey of writing your book. You have got an amazing vocabulary. I have never seen a speaker using such amazing words in 7 minutes. Talkative to quiet, welcome, giving up, flow of life. What do you want your name to be on? And when you were saying the third story, your voice aligned with the emotion. When you said, I chose economics, I could feel you, because there are many people in this world, including me, who have chosen something that they didn't want. Now, the biggest room in the world is a room for improvement. Where can we focus on that room? First, structure. We say you don't write a speech, you basically rewrite a speech. So I would recommend, instead of using a scissor use an axe and take out all the fluff, because there were a lot of things which were not required for the point that you were making. Trying again. I felt the third story was very powerful. If you use a method which was recommended by Bill Gove, he's considered as father of public speaking. This is where I was, this is what happened, this is what I did, and this is where I am now. And just fit in what just fits in over there. I felt there were a lot of things in the beginning and in the middle that was not leading to the point of where you are today, and you're sharing that particular message. The second thing, Zoom presence, most of them said it was good, but I felt your laptop was down. You were looking down. We always say in leadership speak, your laptop should be at your shoulder level so that we feel that you're talking to someone one-to-one. So that could be, like, I feel that that can change. And again, there were a lot of messages, like every story had a message, tell a story, make a point. I would recommend that just say and stick to one message. You were saying about try again, collaborate, like what you say, no, and grab every opportunity. There were multiple messages in this short, just keep it one. To summarize, your path to freedom is in the flow of your life. Keep sharing your personal story with your beautiful vocabulary, and just use an axe to cut off the fluff and position the laptop so that we can see you standing, and help people unwelcoming giving up. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Vinod. Thank you all the speakers and the evaluators for doing their best. And when we all were just completing our task and relaxing, there was one gentleman, our trainer, who was making notes, and he's going to now empower us with more nuggets with his evaluating the evaluators as well as the speaker. May please help me welcome DTM Brahm Memone. Brahm Memone.
Thank you. Let me just get my technology right here and see what sort of notes are going through the chat. Thank you, Leya, for posting that form again for the guest book. So now you heard a lot of things, and please use the guest book. By now you know what we do here in evaluations and what our evaluators are training for. Please put in the guest book what you think about the meeting, and if you want to be part of Leadership Speak, indicate in the guest book. Thank you so much. Okay. Youselee and evaluators. We had some good evaluations. Now, if you noticed from the first speaker to the last speaker, we had 10 evaluators. And as the evaluations went along, they became better and better, because that's how we had aligned them. From the newer member to the most experienced member. Vinod is a charter member, but he's also a very experienced member. He lives in Dubai, or in a city near Dubai, I believe, and a very experienced member. So this is how we'd arranged our evaluations. Now, the very critical question is, of course, what was it for the audience? Was there a takeaway for you, the audience, and was there a connection between the start of the speech and the ending of the speech? So let's use the chat for the audience. And of course, again, we're all evaluators and Toastmasters, so we are all giving feedback, not criticizing or judging. It's feedback. So for the speaker, was there a connection? Let's have a look. Please use the chat. We see a lot of yeses this time. There was a connection between the start and the ending, and therefore the messaging. Okay. Our evaluators had different types of evaluations in this one. One of the evaluators actually started with the delivery part and then went to the content. It should be the other way around. Always focus on the content first and then the delivery. What was the content about, and how was the content delivered? And then and then how was the content delivered? So the critical thinking that went in first in drafting the content itself. So that is what we need to focus on. And Vinod did a great evaluation. It was an effective evaluation in that manner. Now let's have a look at my perspective of what the speaker did. Again, one of the evaluators did catch, I think it was Jessica. She started with thank you, and something about a quote and listening to you all, something like that, which took a little bit from an attention grabbing opening. An opening with the title, What If We Tried Again? You could have just looked in the camera and said, what if we tried again? Whatever tone you wanted to use, whatever, and then pause. Count 1001, 1002, 1003, and then speak. And now as speakers, we are afraid to pause for that long. It seems like infinite, right? When we are speakers, there is the next level of for you, usually, is to be able to use effective pauses in your speaking. Now, that's the beginning. French teacher, very loudly, Miss Youselee Joseph. And the class started to look at you. And you said they were looking at you with accusing faces. So you were setting us up for some sort of a failure. Yeah, that there was some sort of failure in how the French teacher had told you whatever he told you, right? Now, if that was the case, but it wasn't really the case, it wasn't a failure at all, but you set it up for us that it was a failure. So how would you then turn it around and say it was actually positive? There's a technique to that. If you said something that was counterintuitive to what was really happening, then the appropriate pose, that smile on your face as you begin the next part and saying what you really needed to say was you were great, that the acknowledgement you got, great at writing, and how they told you to become a better writer through pursuing that in the university. So you need to really understand that mechanics in speaking, right? And it's an advanced technique, by the way. If you say something counterintuitive and then change it around, it really is very, very high, much further away, a much advanced technique in how to be able to do that. So I would suggest that you practice on that technique. And who should you watch in the world champion of public speaking is Sherry Sue, right? I think she's a master, or was a master, and I'm sure most of the world champions of public speaking do that. But 2019 runner-up, I believe, on YouTube, she's available, and have a watch at how she changes something counterintuitive and says what the reality is. Okay. Somebody mentioned the prop. Very good. You did use the prop, showing us the paper and so on. Very good. I would like to ask the audience, what is the title of the book? That was another prop that you used. Do you know the title of the book? Audience, put it in the chat. Do you know? Anyone? I didn't get the title of the book, which I think was very, very important in this particular speech. You wrote a book. And so what was the title of the book? And you should be proud and say, it's available wherever it is available. How can we buy it? I don't know how I can buy it. This is an advanced club. Don't be shy to tell us, because what you're doing here in Toastmasters should be able to use in the real world. If you had done this speech in the real world, you would say this book is available on this website or that Amazon, wherever it is. This is the title, and show us the book properly so that I couldn't read the title. Some people said, some couldn't, some did say sale, and so on, right? And most people didn't or forgot or whatever, not quite visible. So usually there's another suggestion. You are in an advanced club, so please promote yourself. Not that you're doing a sales, we don't have salesy type, I'm good at this and you buy my product. Not that sort of salesy, but still, you know what I mean? That there's a fine line between being salesy and really pushing yourself and really saying this is available and you can go there, whatever. So I would encourage you that as well. Vinod had great points about, cutting out the fluff. Totally agree with that. Okay. Like go with the flow of life. And 2 years ago, and things like that could be cut out so that you could then spend more time with the audience in what is the audience's takeaway. And that was very, very important, right? The 5 authors, what happened to them, how you guys grew and so on, and the victory, right? Because this is where the turning point is, from falling into the pit to climbing out, because one hero that you met, and the hero was Gerda Felix. By the way, we all know Gerda Felix, those who were in My Speak Toastmasters. Youselee was in My Speak as well. And one of the writers was here present, Ferguson. Just forget the first name. Pardon me. You know who you are here, right? And so on. So that's great. Awesome. Zoom presence, absolutely correct. Again, Vinod, good Zoom presence, except for the angle of the computer and where it was. So overall, you did meet the objective was to what is it in it for the audience. Now, what sort of speech was it? Was it inspiring, informing, instructional, motivational, persuasion, negotiation? What was it in the chat for the audience? What was the speech about? Was it to inform us, instruct us, inspire us, influence us, motivate us, negotiate with us, persuade us? What was it? Bindu? Inspiring, motivating, connecting with storytelling? No, but what was it? Inspiring, motivating? What was it, Bamadu? Right? Those for IIIMPN. Inspiring. Yes, it was. Thank you. So the evaluation should be based on that it was an inspiring story and how it inspired the audience and what it left you with. Vinod did allude to, he'll remember this story well. And there were some things that the speaker mentioned that he'll always remember that were done very well as well. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is my conclusion for this particular story and this speech. Please put some comments in the chat if you think what you think about the two speeches and so on. Mind you, they are evaluations, so the speakers will really appreciate your feedback as well as the audience here, so they can improve themselves and take it to the next level. We always appreciate feedback done in the right manner, which was all included in the training prior to the speaker speaking. Thank you all very much with all that stuff. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I will now pass it back to Paramjit for his wrap-up, and then I'll take over again. Over to you, Paramjit, for your wrapping up.
Wow, that was a terrific, incredible meeting, and particularly the session by you and all the efforts made by all the evaluators, speakers. And the best thing is nobody crossed the timings most of the time, and we are almost on the time today. That is something with so much of today. And I feel our timer and Zoom master had a long time, tiring time, because of lot of changes within the time, so fast to change the thing. Overall, it was a meet session which, everybody has a takeaway from this. Everyone. Small things which we all forget, and Brahm is again and again telling us to do, and worked on them. If we start working on what he has already trained us to today for 45 minutes, I think we all become critical evaluators to help our the speakers we evaluate, to make them to next level. So with all this, I think I'll hand over to DTM Brahm to be in conversation with everyone, particularly with the guests. Please help me welcome DTM Brahm Memone. DTM Brahm Memone.
Thank you. Thank you, Paramjit, for that wrap-up on the evaluation part. And the training is over. Just a conclusion on critical thinking. What we emphasized when we were promoting this event, evaluations for advanced evaluations, critical thinking. Now you understand what critical thinking is. You really have to think, what is the speaker talking about? How about the beginning of the speech? Did they catch my attention? What did they say at the beginning? What was the title of the speech? And how did they layer it? And was there, as quite frankly, we all do, we're all guilty of it, putting fluff in our speech. We sort of think this is my context, this is my story, and I want to tell it my way, but it is not your way. It is the audience's way. It is always about the audience. Remember, it is always about the audience. It's never about you. No matter how close that speech is to you, no matter what you went through, no matter what happened, it doesn't matter. It is still about the audience in the end. And you have to tell your story, or whatever it is, the information or research, whether it's your story or you're speaking to an organization about artificial intelligence, nothing to do with your story. It is still always about the audience. And what is the audience's takeaway? And how did you begin the speech? What was the title? Did it attract them to come here? As you can see today, when we began, we had over 80 people. So our title of the event itself, evaluating the event, we had a lot of people. In fact, 90 people registered to come to this event since we advertised it. No, actually, no. 2 weeks, yeah, actually 2 weeks before. So 90 people in total, new registrations in Leadership Speak to come and watch our meeting here today. So we did that effectively as well. So overall, the meeting itself, doing an evaluation of the meeting, we were, I think, successful. So as a guest, what did you think of the meeting overall? And I'd like to speak to all of our guests here today, especially those who are interested in joining Leadership Speak and taking your evaluations and your speaking to the next level, and not only your evaluation and speaking with critical thinking, but standing out as the leader in your communities outside in the real world. When you open your mouth, that people will say, who is this person? I want to listen to this person. That happens at Leadership Speak. So Leya, put in the guest book once more, last chance for our guests to fill in the guest book. And this meeting is not yet adjourned, so don't switch off the recording. I will now turn my attention to the guests. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a look at, oops. I'm doing something wrong. Ah, yes, that's right. I put something on my keyboard, so. There you go, sorry. Something went wrong with my technology. Just hang a second. Can you hear me? Something's wrong with my technology. This is Zoom Master. Paramjit, can you hear me?
Oh, absolutely
Yes, we
fine.
can hear you clearly.
Everything.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, good. I just put something on my keyboard and went just haywire over here by mistakes. Things happen, right? Technology and all that. Okay. So the guest here, ladies and gentlemen, let me see who is present here. And if you are really interested in joining Leadership Speak, please put up your hand, your virtual hand, and I'll speak to you and so on. Because you put already in the guest book about being, if you want it to be, so on. Leya, just put in the guest book. I don't think I see it again. So if you can put the guest book again for the last time there. And let's move on to some of our guests here. And let's see who is here today. I see right on top of my screen, Noja Barnwell. Are you there, Noja? Oh, people have put actually some hands up. So we'll go first to the people who put up the hand. Jennifer Campton. Thank you for putting up your hand. Hi, Jennifer. Can you put on your video?
Yes.
Hi, Jennifer. So you're from Arizona, right?
I am.
Good. And what did you think of the meeting? Are you interested in joining Leadership Speak? What's your intention?
I was very interested in the meeting. It did help me learn a lot of different skills better. I could see the different steps that you were talking about, the layering and the conclusion and the matching. I've worked on public speaking for a couple of years now, but just joined Toastmasters a couple months ago. I'm wanting to do motivational speaking around mental health. I'm a LMSW, a licensed master's in social work, working towards my LCSW, clinical social work. And I want to be able to do public speaking, kind of like Brene Brown. She's a famous researcher. She's one of the greats in our field. And she uses storytelling in a way that helps captivate people and really connect with them. So that's kind of my objective, and I was looking into improving my skills even more.
Awesome, great. So you've been a Toastmaster for 2 months. You can only join, of course, Leadership Speak if you've done level 3.
Right. Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
And
so I have to work up to that.
And you know, if you put your name in the guest book, we'll stay connected and make sure that you come back and keep coming back as a guest, and then we'll connect with you. VP of membership will connect with you at that later on during this week. All right.
Thank you.
And thank you for being here, Jennifer. And please do, if you haven't filled in the guest book, please do so we can keep in touch. Thank you very much for being here. Now we have Thembile Mkhinze. Hi, Thembile, how are you? Hello. You can unmute yourself.
Thank you. Can you hear me now? Can you
I
hear
can
me
hear
now?
you. I can hear you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for such a wonderful training. I really enjoyed myself. It was my first time attending the advanced pointers that I've took. I know how to craft your speech, in an orderly way, and especially with the conclusion, how to connect with your audience. It was really, really insightful for me. A great session. I really enjoyed it. I'm already with Toastmasters. I'm going to be doing my first evaluation in the next session at in our district. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Yes. So I saw that I will need to be at level 3 in order for me to be part of this as a training. But I will continue to come in as a guest, continue to take all the nuggets that are being shared here to help me to prepare at the time when I'm part of the community in full.
Wonderful. And please do. And we would love to have you as a member as soon as you finish your level 3. Now, the reason for most people who are here, why we say
Yes,
level
definitely.
3. Yeah, thank you very much. The reason why we say level 3 is because we don't teach the basics, how to use pathways, have a mentor, the beginning, how to do a grammarian role, the timer role. Of course, we do teach you to do the grammarian timer role and all those other roles at the next level that an advanced club requires. We'll train you for that, but no, we don't teach the basics here because we are an advanced club. So, those basics you learn at the community club, by the way. So please do keep going to your community clubs and keep coming here. You can come here as a guest as many times as you like. There's no restriction like other clubs have, like come for 3 times and then we are done. We have people here and guests who don't really want to join, but they enjoy coming from time to time for a year, 2 years or so. They just enjoy whenever they have free time, they do. And that's fine. But as you can see, our membership is growing and there'll be attrition in September and then we'll grow again. Like every other club, there's always attrition. No matter how good the club is, there's always attrition because people's positions change at work or things change, life changes, family environment changes, they move, whatever it is, changes, and there's always attrition. Now, anybody else is here who would like to speak to us? Let us see who is here on the screen. David Grinder, are you there? All right, maybe he's moved away from the screen.
We had a hand up from Joshua Chisuvika.
Sorry, who's that?
Joshua Chisuvika had his hand up.
If you can, Joshua Kisubika. Joshua, are you there, Joshua?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi.
Thank you. Thank you so much. My name is Joshua Kisubika Mayanja. I'm from Uganda, from the Loboa Toastmasters Club. I'm the Vice President Education, and happy to be here. I'm a guest here, and yesterday I was speaking to Baron, and he told me he has a meeting with Leadership Speak, and I told him, man, you can't afford to leave me behind. I'll definitely join. So that's the reason as to why I'm here. Thank you so much. It's been such a great meeting.
Thank you, Joshua. And are you thinking of joining Leadership Speak? Joshua, are you thinking of joining us?
Over to you, back to you.
Looks like
at the moment I will come. I will come as a guest.
Sure.
Let me organize myself. But at the moment I'll be joining as a guest.
Absolutely. Okay. Is Nelly Kimani here? Okay, good. Not here. Jennifer, we spoke to Jennifer. Shanicia Belami. Joyce Kibe.
Nelly
So who
Kimani
wants to
is
speak?
here.
Just put up your hand. If I call out your name, we can speak to you if you wish to, of course. Maklena Sama, John Maina.
Maybe I can speak. It's Jace Kibe.
All right, put on your video so we can see you. Can you put on your video?
I'm not camera ready for now, but I had put on my video earlier actually.
Sure, okay, not a problem. And
all right, so but thank you so much. I think this is my third time now as a guest, and I must admit that I'm really enjoying myself, and I'm looking forward to actually being a member. And I've learned a lot today, especially now that I want to do my level 4 speech. So now I know what to do and what my evaluators will be looking out to, and how to connect with the audience. It's about the audience, it's about me. I think that is the best take that I've taken today. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Joyce. And I think we've already been in contact with you, right? So.
Yes, you had.
All right. Yeah, perfect. Is Noja Barnwell here? All right. Looks like most of the guests are perhaps moved away from the computer, but they're here. Pierrette Michel. Professor Mahbub Khan Raja. How are you doing today, Professor Mahbub Khan? You come here very often? Are you a Toastmaster, Professor Mahbub? You're muted, by the way, Professor.
Unmuted. Okay. Very, very good and nice evening, all of you. Please, today I was very late. Sorry for that. And very appreciated, sir, you and all senior. So you are doing very nice effort for humanity and appreciated really. Thanks.
You're welcome. Are you a Toastmaster somewhere?
Yes, in 116.
Mm-hmm.
And now in these days I am here in Qatar, but I belong to Pakistan, Islamabad, Kashmir, from Kashmir.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. All right.
Yes.
Were you thinking of joining Leadership Speak?
Yes, of course. This is my third or fourth. This is my.
So I hope you can fill in the guest book, and we'll get in touch with you. Have you
Yeah,
filled
of
in
course.
the
That's
today?
very nice. You're doing appreciated job here, mashallah.
Thank you very much.
So it is a very hopeful and helpful for all of us. And its first thing is that appreciating, encouraging the peoples. This is very amazing thing, Now, this era we are living, their environment is very strict and very unsustainable. So you are doing sustainable humanities and their attitude, their values. These are very core values of humanity. You are encouraging on every step and everywhere. This is very amazing thing, and this is not not an easy job. Anyone who is accepting and encouraging and doing the good. Thanks.
Abub, let me tell the timer, put on the timing for you. Are you doing a speech? No, I just asked you for a few comments, but thank you so much.
Okay.
If you put your comments in the chat, we'll get back to you, right?
Okay. Thanks. Have a nice.
Thank you very much. And I was just putting it there. I just said my sense of humor. All right, take care, and we'll talk to you soon. We'll be in touch with you soon. Now, who's the next person that put on their video there?
Shanika has.
Shani. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, if you can. Shanicia Bellamy.
Yes. Hi.
How do you pronounce your name, by the way? First, tell me how to pronounce your name.
Shanicia Bellamy.
All right.
Yes.
And where are you from, Shanicia?
I'm from Guyana. I am a Toastmaster. I have been since 2020. I'm a member of the legendary Toastmasters Club here in Guyana. I thoroughly enjoyed your session today. A lot of golden nuggets to take away. And I have my notebook here that I was jotting down, and a lot of stuff that I will definitely incorporate into my evaluations as well as when I'm preparing my speeches. I know you're asking each speaker if they intend to join your advanced club, and it is interesting. Maybe if I had joined your meeting a few weeks ago, I would have, but I recently joined another advanced club and I don't want to make that commitment right now, but definitely I would be returning as a guest.
Sure, absolutely, of course. Thank you so much. And Shanicia, please keep coming back and learn more and more as we go along from us.
Most
And
definitely.
when you're ready to
Thank
join,
you.
let us know.
Yes, most definitely.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. Now, who's next on with our guests here? Is anyone else with their video on or want to speak to us? If not, I will close this session. But we'll still be here if you want to hang around and speak later on after I close this session. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a great meeting. I think I can conclude that from what I'm hearing from the audience. Critical thinking is very, very important in the real world. And if you're going to be somebody who's going to be heard and listened to, then critical thinking is something that you should be doing. And how do you do that? It's by listening very carefully, putting aside your disposition, your emotional reactions, and really listening as to what's really going on here, not only as an evaluator for a speaker, but you could be wearing that same hat as an evaluator in every aspect of your life by just listening and observing without judging and reacting. And therefore, we would live in a better world. Would you agree? I think we would. Critical thinking is very, very important as part of listening, evaluating, great feedback, uplifting, inspiring people. With that, this meeting is concluded and is adjourned. You may stop the recordings, Mr. Zoom Master.